Imagine if your entire life was based solely on how you think, meaning your success, your relationships, your career, and even your happiness all depend on your thinking. Seems a bit weird, right? But this is the truth. When many people hear this, they laugh or think it is a joke. But what Professor Carol Dweck has explained in her book Mindset, the new psychology of suspicion, shakes the very roots of our thinking. The biggest and most important message of this book is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, what are these? Fixed mindset means the thinking which believes that a person will remain the same as he is. If someone is not good in studies, then he can never become good. If someone is weak in speaking, then he can never become a public speaker. That means whatever is will remain the same. No change, no improvement. On the other side is growth mindset. That is the thinking which believes that a human being can improve himself every day, every moment. Mistakes happen, but we can learn from them. There are weaknesses, but they can be turned into strengths. And the most important thing is that every human being can learn, grow, and change. Now the question is, what kind of thinking do we have? Are we among those people who say, I can't do it? Or we are among those who say, I can't do it right now, but I will learn? The very beginning of this book asks us a deep question. What do you do when you fail at something? Do you give up? I curse myself or think that this is the beginning of my learning. Because this thinking decides how far you will go in life. Whatever the situation today, if you have a growth mindset, you can definitely change tomorrow. You will have that courage, that passion that will not stop you from moving forward. So, the next time you tell yourself I can't do this, stop for a moment and think I can't do it right now. But if I keep trying and keep learning, I will definitely be able to do it. Because thinking is not just thinking. Thinking creates your future. Have you ever wondered when the seed of your thinking was sown? Maybe the day when you got low marks in school for the first time, or maybe when someone whispered these words in your ears. You will never be able to do anything. We feel that we have forgotten these things. But in reality, these things go very deep inside us. Carol Dweck says that fixed mindset often gets ingrained in us since childhood. When someone repeatedly says that you are very intelligent, or you will always be weak in maths, then these things may sound like a compliment or the truth. But this draws a limit in our minds. Gradually, the child starts believing that he will remain the way he is. If you are smart, then you will have to score marks every time. If you are weak, then even working hard will not change anything. And this is where the trap of fixed mindset begins. But Carol says a growth mindset is a new hope. This thinking says you can become anything if you want to learn. If you have the courage to get up even after falling again and again, then you can become better than before every time. Growth mindset gives us the power to break through the invisible walls of childhood that were told to us by someone, or that we ourselves built in our minds. Just imagine if a child believes that he can learn, make mistakes, and then achieve something big from them, then he can not only become a good student, but also a self-confident person. And this very thought, this very perspective, can change the direction of our entire life. Let's go back once again. In that school class where we all hit ourselves many times. I remember that class where the teacher would ask questions and every time one of us would remain silent. Why? Because fear had settled inside him. If I give the wrong answer, everyone will laugh. I would be called a fool. But there was another child in the same class who would raise his hand every time, whether his answer is right or wrong. I used to make mistakes, but then I would learn from it. Gradually, he started getting better. This is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A person who has a fixed mindset is afraid of making mistakes. He thinks that if I make a mistake, then people will think that I am stupid, I am weak. That's why he gives up trying. But someone who has a growth mindset says, a mistake means I am learning. For him, the mistake is a lesson. It is a step towards the destination. Carol Dweck revealed some shocking things in research. When children were told that they had worked hard, their performance improved. But when he was told that he was very smart, he started giving up more easily. Now, do you understand the difference? When we appreciate hard work and process, a person's mind opens up. The mind becomes stronger and it learns to fight challenges. But when we only praise someone's smartness, then we unknowingly create a fear that what if I am not proved smart next time? Now think about how we talk to our children, to ourselves, or to our friends. Do we say you are very smart, or do we say I am proud of how hard you have worked? because our words shape the thinking of others, and that thinking later decides their decisions, confidence, and path of life. Relationships do not run only on the heart. They also run on the way we think. Many people believe that if two people love each other, then everything will automatically go well. But the truth is that every relationship requires hard work, understanding, time, and communication. Carol Dweck explains that when we look at relationships with a fixed mindset, we begin to believe that if this relationship is true, then everything will be understood without saying. If we love each other, there will never be a fight. But as soon as there is a misunderstanding, a small disagreement, or a small argument, people with a fixed mindset immediately think that perhaps this relationship will not work anymore. Or else they get egoistic and say, "Why should I understand? It is his mistake." This is where distance starts in relationships. Listening to each other decreases, and the stubbornness to prove oneself right increases. But a person with a growth mindset sees relationships as a journey, where there will also be misunderstandings along the way. But he looks at them as opportunities. Well, now we get a chance to understand each other better. He does not make the debate a battle of ego, but considers it a means of learning and understanding. He knows that relationships aren't perfect, but it can be made perfect by working together. Now think for yourself, if we look at every relationship from this perspective, that wow, together we can learn, change, and become better. So can't those relationships that are on the verge of breaking today be revived? Can't the old happiness, that laughter, that closeness come back again? Because relationships do not break. Our perspective changes. If thinking changes, then perhaps love can become deeper than before. Now think about your work and career. When you see someone at the heights of success, is this the first thought that comes to your mind? He is very talented, that's why he has progressed so much. But Carol Dweck says this thinking is our biggest mistake, because the real key is not just talent, but your thinking. In fact, people with a growth mindset believe this. I can learn, I can improve, and I can become better every day. When he receives feedback, whether it is praise or criticism, he accepts it as a gift. He thinks, the person telling me this is helping me to move forward, opening my eyes. On the other hand, people with a fixed mindset are afraid of feedback. They think that if someone points out my mistake, then people will understand that I am incapable. Their ego comes in the way and they miss the opportunity to learn. In her research, Carol observed that people who had a growth mindset progressed faster in their careers because they considered every new responsibility as an opportunity to learn something new, to challenge myself. Now think, if you change your thinking from today itself, consider every task as a learning process. Instead of being afraid of every mistake, extract something new from it. Then you too can touch those heights which till date only others have been able to achieve. Consider every new responsibility as a growth challenge, not a fear. Because this thinking will take you not just to a job, but to satisfaction, confidence, and real success. The world of sports and art teaches us a big lesson that talent alone is not enough. It is needed to survive, to move forward, and to create history. A flexible mind that knows how to get up after falling, that has the courage to enter the field again after defeat. Just look at Michael Jordan. He was kicked off the school team, but he did not give up. Serena Williams faced defeat many times, but came back with more strength each time. These people just weren't talented. These people were of a growth mindset. His thinking was practice, patience, and perseverance. This is my real talent. Carol Dweck observed that players with a growth mindset viewed even a coach's scolding as an opportunity to learn. They don't care what anyone says to them. If there is any scope for improvement in it, then he listens with his head bowed. Then we go into the field and prove it. But on the other hand, those who have a fixed mindset consider criticism as a direct attack. They get heartbroken, get angry, and sometimes start belittling themselves. Something similar happens in the field of art also. No artist becomes great in a day. Every great painter, singer, writer, or dancer has made mistakes thousands of times. I have learned, I have fallen, but I have still stood back up. Arts and sports teach us that life is a journey in which continuous learning is the greatest strength. Now ask yourself a question. Isn't my life also a stage? Should I just be a coward on this stage? Who does not do anything for fear of making a mistake? Or I would like to be that character who learns something new every time. who stands up again every time he falls, who becomes the real hero of learning in this drama of life. Because remember, the greatest talent in this world is the one who has the hunger to learn and the passion to stand up again after defeat. Now let us talk about our next generation, our children. Those little eyes who are learning something or the other from us every day. Of those ears that consider our every word to be true, and of that innocent heart that makes every compliment its truth. When we tell our child that you are very smart or you are ahead of everyone, then we feel that we are encouraging him. But Carol Dweck says such praise restricts the child's freedom of thinking. He starts thinking that if I am the fastest, then I will have to win every time. If I lose, then this fear gradually drives him away from new challenges. He becomes afraid of making mistakes. One begins to feel afraid of walking on a new path. But when we tell the child that you worked very hard, I see that you are trying and getting better every time, so we sow the seed of growth mindset in his heart. Now that child understands that my identity is due to my hard work and not just my victories. Now he falls but is not afraid. Now he makes mistakes, but he also learns. Now he looks at every challenge as a game in which the greatest joy comes from learning and not from winning and losing. Carol says we need to let kids fall. One should be allowed to make mistakes. But more important than that is to teach them how to stand up after falling. Because a child who tries again and again and is never ready to give up can go anywhere in life. Be it the playground, the classroom, or the battle of life. And we can give this thought to them only when we ourselves start living that thought. Because children don't become what we say they are, they become what we live them to be. Therefore, if we want our children to never give up, then we too will have to become that legacy that teaches the courage to stand strong in every difficulty. Have you ever paid attention to what you say to yourself throughout the day? When things get difficult, when dreams don't come true, when life goes differently than expected, what goes through our minds? Do we tell ourselves, I will never be successful? It is beyond my control. Or however we dare ourselves to say it. I will try, I will learn, and one day I will definitely be able to do it. Carol Dweck says that the way we talk to ourselves determines our thinking, our future, and our courage. If we every time put ourselves down, call ourselves weak, then our mind also starts believing the same. He takes the same path where defeat is already certain. But if we talk to ourselves lovingly and intelligently like it says, yes, it is difficult, but I can learn. I have failed, but I am not finished. So our mind also starts finding new ways, sees new opportunities, and thinks of new ways. In fact, our self-talk can become our biggest strength or our biggest weakness. It depends on our words. So next time you are disappointed by some mistake or broken by some failure, do not hate yourself. Rather say it lovingly that this is a part of my growth journey. I am falling every time. That's why I am becoming stronger every time. Remember, what the world says is a later matter. What you tell yourself first determines your true direction. So starting today, change the way you talk to yourself. Take care of yourself as you would a dear friend. Because when you start understanding yourself, the world also starts understanding you. Many people say that changing thinking is not easy. They believe that man will remain the way he is. But Carol Dweck introduces us to the surprising truth. Our brains are also plastic. Neuroplasticity means it can constantly change, can create new thinking, can create new paths. If you decide today that you will change your thinking, then believe me, you can become a new person from tomorrow. Changing your thinking does not mean just speaking positive things. Changing your thinking means questioning yourself, being willing to learn, getting back up after falling, and striving to be a better version of yourself every day. When you consider every difficulty as a school, a class in which you are learning something new, then life itself comes forward and says, you are ready. Come, let me show you something big. The real power of a growth mindset is that it does not let us be afraid of defeat. It doesn't let us run away from feedback, but rather gives us the power to see our future in every feedback. So if there is anything in your life today that is stopping you, be it fear, failure, or old thinking, just tell yourself for a moment that I can change, I can learn, and I can start again. Because growth mindset says that whatever your today is, your tomorrow can be better than that if you are willing to learn today. Now, as you watch this video, stop for a moment. take a deep breath and ask yourself just one question. Is that same thought still stopping me and not letting me move forward? If the answer is yes, then don't panic, but consider this video, this moment as your new beginning. Because Mindset Book is not just a book bound in a few pages. This is a door to start a new thought, a new perspective, and a new life. Now this decision is in your hands. What do you want to create with your idea? Do you want to live a life where every day is filled with fear, doubt, and the words, "I can't do it"? Or a life where every day you tell yourself, "I can learn, I can change, and I can do"? Remember, if you decide today to adopt a growth mindset, it is not only you who will change. Your whole world can change. Your perspective, your career, your relationships, even your children and their future. So let us start a new chapter of our thinking book from today. A chapter where making mistakes is not wrong, where losing is part of learning, and where every difficulty can turn into an opportunity. Because real success begins where the thinking changes. If this video touched your heart, if you have felt yourself in this somewhere, then definitely like this video. Comment what you learned and share it with others who may just need a change in their thinking today. And yes, if you want to see such life-changing videos, then subscribe to this channel, CK Educational Dunya now. And don't forget to press the bell icon, so that when the next thought-changing story comes, it reaches you first. Thank you, and remember, change your thinking and life will change itself.